Malik right, up all day and all night, pushing all the buttons up to something till it's alright. He looking at it from all sides and angles. He got the stripes on his body like he played for the Bengals. Oh man, there's no one discussing it. They came, they stayed, they either did it or done it. And I love it, cause all they ever do is win. So kick back, relax, to TWSN.
With Patty Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy. Obviously, we do not know everything that was said, really anything that was said, but Colton, let's see that video.
You could have thrown a Hail Mary, right?
That's what I thought.
The only reason you would do that is because I've always wondered, quarterback could get hurt. Look at, he's upset right here. Mahomes is like, I don't want to run the ball and finish the half. He's like, well, stop. We're playing good. It's tough. They got a good D-line. I know, but just trust you.
All right, Daniel, what do you make out of that?
So, I mean, there's a lot of different things, swirling around the internet. A lot of people saying, oh, don't worry about it. It's just, a coach and a quarterback fighting over things. I'm going to be honest. I think this is an issue, right? It has to be. If your star quarterback and your offense coordinator, the guy that is on your team that a lot of people are saying is, the next coming of so-and-so, and they're saying is going to be a future head coach, that's an issue, right? Especially with the fact that they just lost the game, and especially with the fact that this offense has been struggling a little bit. So there is an issue. And there's another thing, right? Patrick Mahomes, he's got a lot to figure out, right? He's shown that he can do it without Tyreek Hill. But the fact of the matter is, how much of that is on Patrick Mahomes and how much of that has been on Eric Bieniemy? So a lot obviously happens behind the scenes. And I'm going to be honest, I think a lot of this is Mahomes being frustrated with the play calls, Mahomes being frustrated with Eric Bieniemy, because he's done this before. He's succeeded without Tyreek Hill. He's succeeded without these guys. So obviously Mahomes, it seems like, is putting a lot more into this than Bieniemy, and it seems like he was frustrated with him.
Well, we had a little bit of audio issue to start this show. A lot like Eric Bieniemy, Patrick Mahomes, and Kansas City Chiefs. They've got issues they need to work out, right? Mm-hmm. We worked ours out real quick, but then you got to work theirs out. They've been at this thing for a couple of years now, right? And we still see issue after issue after issue. But I want to address something really quickly. Put the camera on me real quick, Colton, if you can. So I put a tweet out yesterday, and I talked about the issues that the Kansas City Chiefs potentially could be having. Had some people respond. There aren't always a story to every single thing. Are you sure about that? Because I feel like with Eric Bieniemy, Patrick Mahomes, there is a story. Listen, I'm a firm believer where there's smoke, there's fire. But listen, I'm not going to listen. I often jump on the show. I say men lie, women lie, numbers don't. I'm going to change it up a little bit. Men lie, women lie. Listen, but the proof is also in the pudding. Let's talk about it. Eric Bieniemy, who I had the pleasure to talk with at the Combine last year, phenomenal guy. Danny, I would say he gave us a lot more time than he gives a lot of other people. Oh, yeah. We're talking about for 7 minutes or so. I'm gonna let you in on a little something real quick. Eric Bieniemy had a contract expire, right? He had his contract expire last offseason. And when he had his contract expire last offseason, the Chiefs waited 2 weeks to even re-sign him to a new one. 2 weeks. They had a meeting, a sit-down with him and Andy Reid to talk about if he would be brought back. So when you sit up there and you fix your mouth to say, oh, there isn't anything to it, are you sure about that? Need I remind you also the former play caller, that was the guy actually calling the plays, and Matt Nagy was brought back? If Eric Bieniemy is your star-studded offensive coordinator who you believe in, who you love, who you think could be a potential head coach in the National Football League, wouldn't you pull out all the stops to keep him? If he's on an expiring contract, wouldn't you not have him hanging out there for 2 weeks? When you go do anything in your power to make sure you sign him to a long-term extension to make sure that he's your offensive coordinator for the foreseeable future. So when you fix your face to say that there is no issue there, I beg to differ. There was a scathing report that came out this summer talking about all the issues that the Kansas City Chiefs have with Eric Bieniemy, so on and so forth. I'm sorry. Everything that I have seen from the Kansas City Chiefs and Eric Bieniemy, stating back to, this offseason till now, speaks to a guy that's going to be, he's basically a lame duck offensive coordinator. I think that this is his last year as the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Football Chiefs. There, I said it. So I know some people think, oh, you want drama. It's not that I want drama. But when somebody, when I'm a firm believer, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Listen, the Kansas City Chiefs have shown us how they view Eric Bieniemy. The National Football League has shown us how they view Eric Bieniemy. He's not a head coach. This guy has coached one of the top offenses, right? For years, and he's still not a head coach.
Yep.
So don't tell me that there isn't smoke there. Don't tell me that there isn't an actual issue there, because everything speaks to that. I have a funny feeling we're going to be having the same exact damn conversation at the end of the season. And when it's all said and done, you'll be made to look like a fool. And you know who I'm talking about. So listen, at the end of the day, I think the Kansas City Chiefs have a lot to work out, whether it be from their play calling, because we saw those issues starting to arise up last football season in the playoffs, where Patrick Mahomes didn't know if he had a timeout. And they called a screen pass when he should have been angling the ball to the end zone. And that sort of led to the Chiefs' meltdown and allowed the Bengals to creep back in the game. So the point I'm making, guys, is I think that there's an issue that's not being addressed when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, Eric Bieniemy, Andy Reid, and those Kansas City Chiefs.
Completely. And that's the thing, right? A lot of people, they don't want to talk about it. A lot of people in the media say, oh, Mahomes is the darling, Bieniemy, he's getting a bad rap. We have to talk about it. A former player, LaShawn McCoy, came out and said, Bieniemy, isn't all that as a play caller, isn't all that as a coach, isn't even calling the plays. So when we have to talk about, that's the fact, right? We can't be blindsided by this, oh, well, Bieniemy's all this and he's getting a bad rap. Maybe there is a reason why he's not getting a head coaching job. Maybe there is a reason why he hasn't been, time and time again, the Giants turn him down, teams turn him down. Why is that? Maybe they see what has happened with the Chiefs. Maybe they have an inside look on Patrick Mahomes and Bieniemy, and they say Mahomes is the reason why that offense is running and not Bieniemy.
Listen, all I'm going to say is I think that there is truly an issue there. It's got to be one, right? Listen, offensive coordinator and quarterback don't have – listen, there's having a discussion. We've seen Brady and Josh McDaniels have passionate discussions, but here's the key. We knew Josh McDaniels was calling the offensive plays, right? Yeah. We also saw them win a lot.
Yep.
What was talked about with Patrick Mahomes is that this guy was going to win multiple championships with the Kansas City Football Chiefs in his prime. Patrick Mahomes is in his prime right now. Let's talk about it. He's in his prime right now. And listen, whenever I talk about Aaron Rodgers, not Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, people tend to get really, really worked up. Like he's the forbidden guy to talk about. Listen, he's a football player. He's a quarterback in the National Football League. I'm going to address problems that I see. And when I talked about it last year, people are like, oh, no, you can't criticize his quarterback play. Now it's, you can't talk about that there might be a potential issue there with Eric Bieniemy. Listen, the fact of the matter is, this is a team, this is a quarterback that was scheduled to win multiple championships. People said they are going to win multiple championships together. And so far, they've got one.
Yeah.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Patrick Mahomes is trending towards the Aaron Rodgers career trajectory more so than the Tom Brady career trajectory, because everybody wanted to say he's the next GOAT. He's the blah, 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 blah. Aaron Rodgers has one championship in his career and has been on top of the league for a decade plus and nothing else to show for it. Patrick Mahomes is the same thing. He's in his prime. He's got one ring. I know people not gonna like me saying that because he is the golden boy of the NFL, but I'm gonna spit facts. Again, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And in Patrick Mahomes' prime, he has one career ring, and he signed a mega contract.
Malik,
this is the part where you say stop.
Malik, no,
stop,
I mean,
right?
you have to. I think at this point you're getting a little bit like the fact. Okay, you're comparing him to Aaron Rodgers, so that's still a good thing, right? Aaron Rodgers is considered arguably the most talented quarterback.
He's the best quarterback in the National Football League.
So that's a good thing. The only thing I disagree with you on is I don't think that we can say that yet. I don't think
26.
He's still 26. He's made multiple Super Bowls and he's had success. He's had serious success with a bad defense time and time again. He's made two Super Bowls, but last year he's been in the conference championship how many times in a row? How many times? 4 straight times? Mahomes has done time and time again, success after success after success.
Listen, I think you're reading a little bit too much into what I'm saying. I'm simply saying Aaron Rodgers has 1 ring in his career and he lives in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers lives in the playoffs, right? He takes his team far. So why can't I say the exact same thing? The only difference Patrick Mahomes ever has over Aaron Rodgers right now is the fact that he made it to 1 more Super Bowl than him.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm disagreeing with you, I think we've seen Aaron Rodgers fold time and time again on the biggest stage. I don't think we've seen Mahomes fold. So that's the only thing. Because I've seen Rodgers in the playoffs time and time again. It's like they should do it. It's their year. Like, when they faced,
So Mahomes didn't fold in the playoffs last year?
That was 1 year. I don't think he's shown that on a consistent basis. Rodgers did on a consistent basis. I don't think Mahomes folded terribly. Like, he did okay. Like, it was bad, but like,
it was pretty bad.
But that was a 1 year sample size. I look at 4 years making the conference championship time and time again. I think he'll have more success. I think he'll make multiple Super Bowls. I don't know if he'll win multiple Super Bowls, but he will make 1 more in his career.
What's
guaranteed.
making it if you're not winning them?
They can, yeah, but Aaron Rodgers, it's the same thing, right? Aaron Rodgers, how old is he now? 38, and he hasn't made one in quite some time. Patrick Mahomes will make it back very soon.
We'll see about that. I have a funny feeling Daniel's going to be wrong about that. But before we get into that, I just want to do a special shout out to my man, Devin Young, man. He did a phenomenal job. Heat on the feet.
Yep.
Right? Heat on the feet. But shout out to him. He's got his own company, DS Heat Customs. Definitely make sure you check him out. We'll have all his links down in the description.
Show the
shoes. I want to
shoes.
show you guys what he did, what he came up with. Man, look at these. Fire. Got the First Star Logistics, my company TWSN, commemorating the partnership. And I'm super excited about that. He's got this sit down the right way. Props to Devin, man. He did a phenomenal job on this sneaker. Honestly, guys, I don't know. For me, this sneaker is too heat for me to actually put on my feet right now. But I'll tell you where it belongs. It belongs. Follow me over here. I think it belongs right on the shelf. Man. I think this shoe is absolutely phenomenal, personally, and I think a lot of you guys are gonna like it. I think it makes sense to sit right there. So again, we'll have all Devin's links in the description. Props to Devin again for making a fantastic shoe, and we really appreciate it. It's absolutely awesome. Meg?
All right. Well, let's move on to someone who is obviously thriving off of their coaching staff, and that is Tua. He led his team to a win over the Bills. Malik, we're going to go to you first. Does this change your opinion on Tua?
Malik, we need to hear an apology. And I'm going to start this off. I'm going to start this off by saying, Malik, now's your time, right? Now's your time after 3 weeks, after talking all the trash, and I'm going to get into my spiel. Now's the time for you to make the apology on Tua. I'm going to let you talk. Give your apology. Let's hear it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize.
Oh, no.
To absolutely nobody. Like, I say what I say on the show and I stick by it. Listen, you ready to praise a guy after he threw for 186 yak yards? Well, listen, I'm not there with Tua Tagovailoa. I never been, never will be. The guy literally is a check down merchant. He's benefiting off of Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. By the way, Tyreek Hill, the one that talk a lot. I mean, we're going to talk about that a little later. 33 yards. Right. No, but we sit up here ready to praise Tua Tagovailoa because he's putting up Davis Mills numbers. What are we talking about? He's putting up Davis Mills numbers.
Yo,
he had
that's
a great performance.
crazy.
He had a great
That's
performance against the Baltimore Ravens. He had a great performance. And listen, Daniel, I appreciate the fact that you got all done up. You put the shades on today. You got the Miami Dolphins, the little Hawaiian thing going on with you. Listen, he's putting up Davis Mills numbers. This guy's in his 3rd year as a starting quarterback in the National Football League. And we got to ask ourselves this question. Are the Dolphins even going to pick up Tua Tagovailoa's 5th-year option? That's a real thing. Are they going to even pick up his 5th-year option? You sit up there ready to praise the dude after he threw for 800. You should be doing that. That's the bare minimum you should be doing in the first quarter with this offense. You sitting up there praising a yak merchant. Get out of here, man. Listen, Tua Tagovailoa is not that guy. His deep ball is bad. It's awful. He's a yak guy. And guess what? This week, he's going to get exposed. He's going to get exposed when we welcome him into the jungle. So you can wear your shades. You can wear your Hawaiian uniform. You could be praising Tua Tagovailoa and saying all the things you want to do. I'm not there with Tua. And I've been telling you that. He's not that guy. He'll never be that guy.
Colton, pan the camera just to me for a second. So, I love Breaking Bad, right? I love the show Breaking Bad. You know what one of the characters always says? You can't keep getting away with this. You can't, Malik. You can't. It's time for you to stop. You said he was a bum. You said he was a bum. You said he was worse than Baker Mayfield. He's not a top 32 quarterback. He's worse than Teddy Bridgewater. He's worse than all these guys. You said he wasn't going to be the starter at the end of the year. That's what you said. You said he wasn't going to make it the full year. And what has he done? Start his team off 3-0. 3-0, Malik. 3-0, right? I look at this offense. What do they have? They have Tyreek Hill. They have Jalen Waddle. Yes, those guys are helping. But what else do they have? What's their defense done? Their defense has 2 sacks. Their defense is chips. Their defense sucks. And they're still 3-0. They still beat the Bills. They still beat the Patriots.
Daniel, when you talk about them beating the Bills, they barely beat the Bills.
No.
They barely beat the Bills.
They are 3-0. Malik, there are 2 teams, men lie, women lie, number zone. There are 2 teams in the NFL that are 3-0. 2 teams. One of those teams has been led by Tua Tagovailoa. So all I'm saying is I want you to apologize for him you saying he's not going to be the starter. He is a bum. You said that he sucks. You said
my man Matt Levine just said in the comment section just now. Sam Darnold was 3-0 to start the year last year.
You said
Sam Darnold was 3-0 to start the year last year.
You said that he sucks. He's thrown for 900 yards, 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. He is a starting caliber quarterback. He has great receivers, and he's done what he's supposed to do. The fact that he's only thrown 2 interceptions, that surprised you, and that surprised every single person watching because they said Tua turned the ball over. What has he done? He's led his team to a 3-0 start, and that's all that he has had to do.
Can we just talk about how the Bills were missing 6?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
matter. It doesn't matter.
He's going to throw for 188 yards.
It doesn't matter.
Against backups?
It doesn't matter.
That's like something that...
Okay, you look at every other team. This is the same conversation that we have about every single team in the NFL. If a team does what they're supposed to do, they make the playoffs. Look at the Steelers a couple years ago. People said that they sucked. Sure, maybe they weren't as good as the record, but what happened? They won and they made the playoffs. Tua isn't a top 10 quarterback. Tua isn't a top 5 quarterback. But what he's done is he's done what he's supposed to do. And I just want you to apologize because you said that he sucks. You said that he shouldn't even be a starter. And damn right, you look like a fool right now.
Daniel, if Tua Tagovailoa goes into Cincinnati,
it doesn't matter.
It does matter.
It does matter.
It doesn't matter. Let me tell you why.
The Bengals are better than the Dolphins. It doesn't matter.
Let me tell you why.
It doesn't matter.
Let me tell you why. You ain't even listening. You listening to be right. You're not even listening. Here's the thing. I'm going to put out the same thing I did with Joe Burrow back in 2019 when he had to go against my Alabama Crimson Tide, Roll Tide. Because Joe Burrow, when he faced the Alabama Crimson Tide, his first year at LSU, he looked awful through multiple interceptions. And I looked at the Alabama Crimson Tide as a measuring stick to see how good that LSU offense was. Listen, when I scouted Joe Burrow, I was looking for everything wrong in his game. I was nitpicking. I wanted to see if this guy could handle it. And I said to all my buddy Grant, I said, hey, if Joe Burrow goes into Alabama and he beats the Alabama Crimson Tide in an impressive fashion, I said, he don't even got to beat him. He just got to have an impressive showing because I want to see him take the next leap. I said, I'll become a believer because we watched every game together. He did that, and I became a believer. I'm going to put the same thing out for Tua. Tua's in his 3rd year, and he's playing his best football that he's played since college football.
As he should. He should be at his best right now.
He should have been taking the next leap. He should have been.
Right now, he's at his best.
Okay, but here's what I'm going to say. If Tua goes into the jungle on Thursday Night Football and he beats the Cincinnati Bengals, hell, you ain't got to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Put up an impressive showing. Throw for more than 180 yards, because guess what? One thing I can show you, that's a real Bengals defense you're dealing with. Louis A. and them boys can come ready to play. Cheeto and them boys can come ready to play. We going to see what's what. Because let me tell you something. For all the flack that Eli Apple held his own last year against the Kansas City Chiefs. He gave Tyreek Hill fits. We're going to talk a little about that a little more in the show. I need to see Tua against a real defense, right? Not a Swiss cheese defense with a college defensive coordinator like the Baltimore Ravens had, okay? Not an aging, old-ass Patriots defense, right? And not a Buffalo Bills defense that's missing all their starters, including their 2 starting safeties. So yes, Daniel, context matters. Now you got to see Burrow and them boys. Now you got to see Burrow and them boys. And now we're going to see what's what. We're going to see how good Tua Tagovailoa is as a quarterback. Because guess what? I'm going to pull his card. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I think he's a fake. That's what I think.
Well,
I think this season he's having right now, it's cool. It was a cool story for 3 weeks. But Louis A and them boys is going to be the defense that proves to y'all that Tua Tagovailoa is not that guy. You sitting up here ready to praise him. You ready for me to throw flowers. You ready for me to apologize. He puts up a good showing against the Bengals Thursday Night Football. I'll apologize. Hell, I'll come on this show. I'll come on this show next Monday with a Tua Tagovailoa jersey. That's what I'll do. That's what I'll do.
Well, let's talk about last Wednesday on our show. Prior to our show, Daniel said Tua's going to get demolished by the Bills.
Yeah.
And he's sitting here today saying he's going to lose to the Bengals. So how high can you be on him if you don't have trust in him to beat these good teams?
I mean, I have trust in him to perform.
Okay.
But I was also looking at the Bills before they lost Jordan Poyer, before they lost Micah Hyde, before they lost Jordan Phillips, before they lost so on and so forth, Dane Jackson. So that's the fact of the matter. And when I look at this, Malik,
injured teams.
Megan, when we look at this, all I want, guys, is for people to stop disrespecting him with the likes of Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. You said he's putting up Davis Mills numbers, and I think that's crazy. All I want is for you to look at yourself.
Daniel, people will stop disrespecting him when he's able to operate as a functioning quarterback.
And he is. What have they done?
On a consistent basis.
3 weeks. What
Daniel,
have they done?
He threw for 184 yards yesterday.
With a concussion,
and you're praising him.
With a concussion. That's the thing.
So now you're a doctor.
That's
so now you're a doctor.
thing.
So it's back spasms, they say.
So, Malik, you said, you're going to sit up here on next show and say you're going to wear a Tua jersey. What if he doesn't play? What if he doesn't play? It's going to be the same thing time and time again, week after week. It's going to be, oh, well, it's this, it's that. You're never going to give him the respect that he deserves. I want.
Give him the respect he deserves. But I'm simply saying, listen, the guy is a yard murder. That's what he is.
That's fine.
That's what he's benefiting from.
That's fine. Okay. That's fine. Malik, if you remember the first show that we talked about this, that's what I said. All he's going to do is throw the check down. He's going to throw the quick slant, throw the screen, give the ball to the playmakers, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Let him work. And what did I say? They're going to have a top 10 offense. It may not look the best all the time. He may throw a game-losing interception, but they will have a top 10 offense, and damn sure they have one right now.
All right, let's move on.
3 weeks in.
Let's move on, and we'll see Monday if Malik shows up in a jersey.
We will see.
But from one upset to another, Justin Herbert was not able to lead his team to a win against the Jags, and that could be thanks to his messed up ribs that he was playing with for some reason. Is this call to let him play? Is it on him? Is it on Brandon Staley? Who's it on?
Well, I have inside information. 100% is on Justin Herbert. The team doctors and everybody advised him to sit out this game. They said, think about your long-term health, blah, 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 blah. Justin Herbert didn't want to miss a game. He wanted to troop it out. Chase Daniels was scheduled to be the starter of this game. He took all the snaps on Friday. Saturday, Justin Herbert threw a little bit. He was still in pain. Then the option came for him to take an injection. He took an injection, and he wanted to play. He played like trash. He should have took the advice of the team. He didn't. He went against that. Again, Chase Daniels was supposed to be the starter for this game. But I think he did more harm to his team than he did to actually help the football team. So that's why Justin Herbert,
Oh, yeah. And this pissed me off, right? And there's a, method behind this to where you look at what happened on Thursday Night Football, Justin Herbert. I think that he got in his own head, right? After he came back from the injury, what did he do? He had that awesome throw. And then he thought, you know what? All right, if I can do that as soon as I got hurt, I can do it after a week, right? And as you said, all week, he wasn't really practicing. So in his against his best interest, against everything that everybody was saying to him, it seems like he went and didn't swallow his pride. It seemed like he said, you know what, I'm going to go out here and I think I can put on a heroic performance.
Yeah.
And he hurt the team. There were many times yesterday where I looked at it and I said, a couple the interception he threw, I was like, that's not Justin Herbert. He's playing through an injury. That's not him. And I think he did a lot more harm to his team than he did good.
Honestly, but at what point do we, in the media, at what point do we look at Brandon Staley's decision-making as the head coach of the football team? I don't give a damn, right? I don't care if you the starting quarterback. I don't care if you want to play. I don't care if you want to troop it out there, if you want to be out there for your brother, so on and so forth. I do not care about any of that.
Yeah.
if you are hurt and you are injured and you are our star quarterback and we are relying on you, I'm going to take the onus on me. And I'm going to say, you know what, Jay Herbs, I know you're good. I know you're great.
Yep.
I know you're our franchise quarterback, but you being out there does more harm than good. So you have to question Brandon Staley. It's funny. We were questioning Brandon Staley's decision-making as a head coach, right? Last year. Now we're questioning him as a head coach, and his decision-making off the field and his ability to lead effectively. And I think it does cause that. We should be talking about that. I think we should be talking about Brandon Staley and if he's able to lead this Chargers team in the correct manner. Because the fact of the matter is, your franchise quarterback could have went out there yesterday and done some major damage long term to his ribs. And then what will we be talking about? We'll be talking about the Chargers and what could have been this football season. We still might be talking. We don't know the long-term impact it had. But you know what? I think at some point, I think Justin Herbert, for being stubborn, shares the blame with Brandon Staley, right? For this blunder.
Wait, at the same time, obviously Justin Herbert's going to want to play. Any quarterback is going to want to play through the injury. So you have to look at the coaching and be like, okay, it doesn't take a brain scientist to know that, of course, he's going to want to go out there. Of course, he's going to downplay his injury because he wants to win. But you have to know that that's not all that matters.
Oh, yeah. And there's two sides of this, right? There's one side that looks to the coaching staff, say, okay, well, they trusted their quarterback. But then there's the other side that is the smarter side and says, okay, Justin Herbert, he would have understood. It's like the same thing. Like, Malik, for me and you, for example, when you give me advice sometimes, I'm like, okay, like, this doesn't sound right, but I know, like, I trust you. And then a year later, I'm like, holy crap, I know you were right. It's the same thing with this. Justin Herbert.
Same thing with the Tua thing.
No, it's not the same thing with the Tua thing, but the same thing with this, right? Justin Herbert, if Staley would have made it, an effort to say, hey, Herbs, I got you. Trust me. I know, like, as you said, you're great, but let's hold off. Herbert would have been pissed. But in the long run, he would have definitely said, you know what,
this coach.
You know what, Brandon, you were right. So that's the thing. And maybe that's a coaching issue. Maybe that is an issue. So
at the same time, why didn't they take him out once they were down?
Yeah.
It's like at that point too, that's not on Justin Herbert. They're down and it's on the coaches to take him out. Okay, we don't need you in right now. We're not going to win. You shouldn't be playing.
They were getting killed. They were getting killed by the Jaguars.
He literally chose to play because he wanted to win.
Yep.
It didn't matter. So it's like it just wasn't worth it. And it was so obvious. But now we can move on to the Bengals breakdown, what everyone's been waiting for. We finally got the win. But first things first, T. Higgins scored a touchdown, which was not a touchdown, which was a touchdown, in my opinion. Daniel, was it the right call?
So was it the right call?
Technically,
no, it wasn't the right call. He was in, but Malik, I know this is kind of your segment to go off a little bit, about the Bengals. So what were your thoughts on this?
Who they think they're going to beat the Bengals? Nobody. Let's go. The Bengals offense took flight. Let me just talk about that for a second. Props to Zach Taylor, the coaching staff, for making the adjustments. I said it on the show before. Listen, sometimes I know football is a game of X's and O's, but sometimes you got to trust Jimmy's and Joe's. And yesterday they trust Joe. Yesterday they got the ball to their guys. They got the ball to Tyler Boyd early and often. They got the ball to T. Higgins. They got the ball to they tried to get the ball to Jamar Chase 6 times. Although I got to say props to Sauce Gardner, did a phenomenal job against Jamar Chase. No, but I'm pretty pumped about the way the Bengals coaching staff really looked at themselves in the mirror, and that's sort of what I thought was going to happen against this Jets team. It was a get right game. But to talk about the T. Higgins, that was 100% a touchdown. I hate that rule. That rule. How is it 2 feet on that down on any part of the field except for in the end zone?
Yeah.
You got to make sure you get the heel down as well. That was 100% a touchdown. It was a phenomenal grab. I thought it was an absolute blunder by the NFL, officiating office and officiating crew. The fact that they couldn't name that a touchdown, because if you ask me, I thought that was a phenomenal grab by T. Higgins, and it seems like he got robbed, if you ask me. So the fact of the matter is, man, props to the Cincinnati Bengals for coming out, with a huge victory yesterday. And T. Higgins is balled out, even in the midst of getting those dirty hits from LaMarcus Joyner. That's what I want to know. When is the league going to start protecting these Bengals receivers a little bit more? We're coming down a little bit more with, a more hefty punishment, if you will. It was ridiculous, right? And this is the second week. This is the second time that this happened this season in many weeks where T. Higgins had to leave the game because of targeting, right? And to me, at some point, we have to talk about it. That's an issue, right?
Yep.
That is an issue. And if that's the recipe to beat this Bengals offense, to stop this Bengals receiving core, is to knock somebody out the game, damn, it should tell you how lethal this Bengals offense is going to be.
Oh, yeah. And when I look at that one play, Malik, why is it called a toe drag? Why? Why is it called a toe drag if you have to have your heel on the, like, what are we talking about? A toe drag swag, right? T. Higgins did that. So, yes, that was a touchdown. And one thing I want to say, if you guys are watching this, make sure drop some comments down below.
And Colin, if you could do us a favor, because I want to provide people with context what we're talking about. Let's actually show them the picture of T. Higgins. I don't know how you could look at this picture and say that, hey, this wasn't a touchdown. I'm not sure how you can. Do you have it up, Colton? Yeah. So that's I just don't get it. To me, that's as clear as day is a touchdown. I thought it was ridiculous. But yeah, we still came out with the victory. Luckily, it didn't wind up screwing us in the end. The Bengals kept their foot on the gas. Would have liked to start out. Would have liked to end the game a little bit stronger than what they did. But guess what? They got the victory, and that's all that matters. So I guess, yeah, exactly. My man Chase says in the comment section, I guess Antonio Holmes' touchdown in Super Bowl shouldn't have been counted, either, right? Because that's what it was.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
His heel physically couldn't have landed inside.
Ridiculous.
So
Ridiculous.
what's
the point of having a toe drag?
Yeah.
AJ Green made a career off.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. Let's keep it going.
Yeah. Let's talk about Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, we see the Joe Burrow that we've seen last year. Mm-hmm. Is he back? Is this for good? Is this going to stay?
Joe Burrow looked damn good. Yeah. Joe Burrow looked like the Joe Burrow old. I'm ready to say it. I think Joe Burrow is back, but I think he'll be back even more on Thursday Night Football. Joe Burrow always seems to perform his best in the brightest lights.
Yep.
When the stage is at when the stakes are at its highest, Joe Burrow always seems to raise his level of play. He did it in the Super Bowl. He did it in the playoff game when he had to do it, right? When his number got called. And he also did it last year, Thursday Night Football against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Joe Burrow made some amazing plays where he got him and TJ Zellman were just like a magnet almost. Yep. And I think I was in the stadium for that game. Meg was in the stadium for that game. And Joe Burrow looked phenomenal. I expect a big performance here. Listen, this Bengals football team just need to get that first win under the belt. They understand what's riding on it. They understand they are the team to still beat in the AFC. If people don't know that, the Bengals are still the team to beat in the AFC. They are the AFC.
That was my next question.
The Bengals are the AFC defending champions. And I think that you're going to see that through and through and through. So, again, props to this Bengals coaching staff. Joe Burrow is back though, and I think he'll have a big performance on Thursday night.
Oh yeah, and that's the one thing, right? A lot of people, the first two games, they said, well, they had questions about Joe Burrow, and those were right questions. But the truth was, he needed some time. Like we said, didn't play in the preseason. Got you got the surgery. Yeah, I can't say that word. Surgery is a much easier word to say. But that's I saw him go through his progressions, and my favorite thing I saw, he was taking shots.
Yeah,
he was taking shots, and a lot of people, the first two games, some of it was on Zach Taylor, but some of it was on Burrow for being gun shy. He took shots to T. Higgins. He took the deep shot to Jamar Chase. That's what we wanted to see. So Joe Burrow, I loved what I saw. They sent an all-out blitz on him. What did he do? Stood right in the pocket, took the hit, threw the ball, touchdown, Tyler Boyd. That's what we want to see. He went through his progressions, and we didn't see the miscues like we did in week 1 and week 2. Getting gun shy, seeing wide open guys in the middle of the field, checking it down. He looked like he was back to his old self. So I like him. We're going to see primetime Joe Burrow. He's back for good. So
talking about the Thursday night game, Eli Apple and Tyreek Hill apparently have some beef. I mean, coming from the Chiefs game last year in the playoffs, I can see why. Is this motivation needed for Eli Apple?
Well, to provide context for people, right?
Yeah.
Colin, play that clip of Tyreek Hill calling out Eli Apple.
Oh, we play on Prime Time that week? I didn't even know that.
Amazon Prime.
Oh, we play on Amazon Prime?
Thursday.
Oh, that's going to be lit right there. I didn't even know that for real. But, yeah, we're looking forward to who we play?
Bengals.
We're looking forward to the challenge. It's going to be fun, and I can't wait to go against Eli Apple, man. I owe you, boy. I owe you. I'm here. The cheetah is here. That's it.
In town.
I mean, everything to me, when I watch that clip, it sounds like a guy that's pretty much living rent-free in Tyreek Hill's head.
Yeah.
That's what that sounds like to me. Tyreek Hill, I don't know if he was trying to do his best Ocho Cinco impersonation, talking about some who we play. Come on, bro. You know who you play. NFL players know when they play on prime time.
Yeah.
You check it down on your schedule when you have to play prime time. So to me, I thought that was an asinine comment talking about who do we play, things of that nature. Let me remind you, Tyreek Hill, you're the same guy that got greedy, that listened to your agent. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, you listened to your agent. You had years still left on your contract with the Chiefs. You got greedy. You wanted to get, pretty much get more money out of it, so to speak. And you were willing to leave one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League in Patrick Mahomes and join Tua Tagovailoa. You've been on a crusade this entire offseason, even now into the season, trying to prove to everybody that Tua is this guy, Tua is that guy, even downright saying that he's more accurate than Patrick Mahomes, which we all know is not true. The fact of the matter is, Tariq, all you've done is make yourself seem like a joke, seem like a clown. And listen, I'm not crazy. We all know you're the better player out of you and Eli Apple. We all know that.
Yeah.
But this right here is bulletin board material, my man. Drop your ego, right? It's bigger than you. It's about your entire football team, my man. And you making it personal. You're making it personal about a guy that in a team that beat you guys back when on your former team, back when you guys were in the AFC Championship and early in the regular season. Let it go. But you ain't got to let it go just yet. Hold on to that. I want you to keep that motivation. Everything that you've been saying, what he said, I owe you, boy. That's what he said. We gonna see, because now all you did was put more pressure on yourself.
Yep.
All you did was put more pressure on Tua. And like I said, welcome to the jungle. We're gonna talk more about that, I'm sure, as the week go on Wednesday show and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
But I got a funny feeling you might be eating those words, sir.
I think it's hilarious. Like, you're right. Like, he's putting a lot more pressure on himself because everybody knows Eli Apple is not as good as Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
But I think it's hilarious. This is the type of thing that Tyreek Hill is going for. He's shown, the move from the Kansas City Chiefs to Miami Dolphins. He's not stupid. He understood that he left from a championship contending team to a team that is not as good. So he's having fun with it. I think it's hilarious.
Really?
I think he loves being in the limelight. He loves being in the spotlight. That's why he does the peace sign. That's why he does all that. So he's got a lot of pressure on himself. And if he doesn't show up, then he's going to look stupid. And the upside for him is he gets to be in the media more. So I think it's hilarious. I love it. And we'll see the matchup. I want to see them one-on-one. Probably not going to happen all that often because they're going to have Jesse Bates over top.
Of course.
But yeah.
Lots of Dax Hill.
Absolutely.
Lots of Dax Hill.
I'm excited. I think the Bengals will have a good scheme pretty much cooked up for all that. I can't wait for that. But I want to make sure that I make mention of this. I can't wait for this absolutely monster of a game, Thursday Night Football, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bengals versus Dolphins. Make no mistake about it. This is a huge game, guys. This is a huge game. I'm not sleeping on the Miami Dolphins, although Tyreek Hill seems to be sleeping on Eli Apple. It is a big game, right? It's a game that can decide a lot, because there are some people out there right now that are saying the Dolphins are the best team in the AFC.
Yes, that's crazy.
There are people out there saying that
crazy.
the Dolphins are the best team in the AFC. There are people out there saying that the Dolphins might even be the best team in the NFL. Let me just say this. Make sure that you keep that same energy. There were a lot of people that wrote the Bengals off after this last 2 weeks, right? Make sure the respect is just as loud as the disrespect. That's what I'm going to say to you.
Yeah.
Make sure the respect is just as loud as disrespect. Because a lot of people disrespected the Bengals. I never once disrespected the Bengals. I simply said there are corrections the Bengals had to make.
Yeah.
And guess what? Those corrections they made. And now the Bengals are back clicking. The Bengals are back to their old ways, if you will, offensively.
Yep.
And defensively, they've been consistent. So props to Luke.
Malik, I think it's very simple, right? So much, people fall for the recency bias. It's time and time again, right? And that's the thing. We can't be a prisoner of the moment. The Miami Dolphins, yes, they're 3-0. And yes, I do love their offense. But the fact of the matter is they're not the best team in the AFC. But we have to remember this, because that's what the media is saying. As we were walking into the First Star studio today, I saw on the TV, are the Dolphins better than the Bills? Like, that's a question. They said, are the Dolphins the best team in the AFC? That's a question. So just remember that after this game. Vegas has this line at, they started off, it was almost a pick'em game. Remember that. So that's all I want to say, because so many times, every single Monday, people like to have a new favorite team. Let's remember what you were saying this week. Let's remember that. So
after Thursday Night Football, right? And I'll be there live in the First Star Logistics Suite. I can't wait. I'll be chilling with some First Star employees and stuff like that. And I can't wait to be there to witness it live in action. Remember everybody that said this is the best team in the AFC. Remember, everybody said, is this the best team in the NFL? Because when the Bengals do what I say the Bengals are going to do to them on Thursday Night Football, remember, since the AFC still runs through Cincinnati, the Bengals are the defending AFC champions, not AFC North champions, the defending AFC champions. So when you were ready to crown a new champion, we were ready to crown a new team and stuff like that, just remember all that, because I have a funny feeling they'll be singing the Bengals praises come Friday.
Yeah.
Malik, you have a new segment for everybody, and it's called The Right Takes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to let you, no pun intended, take that away.
For sure.
So go for it.
I was just invited to Bengals Gym tailgate. Sure, if I'm invited, I'll pop out there. I definitely love to hang out with you guys and things of that nature. But so the Right Take segment. This is a new segment on the show where I'll be talking about pretty much what my observations from this past weekend's events. It could be from MMA, NFL, NBA when the season does start and things of that nature. I'm gonna go through my observations really, really quickly. So the first and foremost one is the big one. Did the Miami Dolphins follow the NFL concussion protocol? Listen, I'm not here to say they did or they didn't. I'm just going to say the excuse that they gave in terms of back spasms. Yeah. Listen, Tua was clearly concussed. To me, that's what
he was grabbing his head.
He was grabbing his head, shaking his head. He didn't know where he was. He was stumbling. And they said, oh, no, the back spasms is the reason why that caused it. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I think that this looks really, really bad on not only the Miami Dolphins, but the National Football League. Listen, I pray to God that Tua is not actually concussed, because that'll look really, really bad.
Oh, yeah.
But I just don't know what doctor in good faith would have allowed Tua to go back into that game, especially with the way that he looked.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He looked bad.
And for me, the thing that is kind of concerning is, I saw the press conference with Tua. Tua's a bad liar. Like, if he's telling the truth, then he's telling the truth, then I'm wrong. It just looked like when he was explaining, he said, oh, the play before or the goal line, my back bent backwards. And then on that play, I got up and I grabbed my back. Like, there were many times I went back. I saw a lot of videos. I mean, a lot of even former players were going out to Twitter saying, I had a concussion before. That's what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, that's the truth. And it looked like that. So I hope that he doesn't have a concussion. I hope it's not serious, but it looked bad, and you don't wobble like that. I know I'm not any doctor, and I'm not claiming to be a doctor, but you don't wobble and then grab your head after back spasm. That's what I think.
And
what do I know?
That's the thing, too, going back to the Chargers and letting Justin Herbert play. I think it's pretty embarrassing for the Dolphins to just throw your quarterback after seeing what he looked like after that hit and the way that his O-line had to hold him up.
Yeah.
And you're going to put him back out there. I just think that's just awful.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I hate to keep talking about Tua, but in the past regime, right, what happened? They oftentimes replaced Tua. There's a different sense about this team right now, or else they would have put Teddy Bridgewater, if they trusted him that much, over Tua. That's just my 2 cents, right? Like you said, he got replaced for Ryan Fitzpatrick time and time again.
Now's not the time to gloat.
And I know. I'm simply saying that they said that with their team, Tua on their team, that it's much better even to risk an injury. And I think that's the wrong move. If they were seriously risking an injury, that's the wrong move.
Yep.
Trust your backup quarterback.
Especially something like a concussion.
Yes.
That is long-term damage.
So I hope he's not concussed.
And for all of you people out there that say, oh, the NFL is soft, things of that nature, this is why, right? This is why, the league has transitioned to the way it has, right? It's about protecting these players. It's not about the league being soft.
Yeah.
It's about making sure that these injuries, these concussions don't have long-term damaging, impact on a player's lives well after their playing career is over. There are a lot of people out there that say, I don't watch the NFL anymore. It's soft. Like, well, I'm sorry that you're not a fan of safety. But I definitely think that the NFL is right to be investigating the handling or the mishandling of the Tua Tagovailoa situation. I definitely don't think Tua Tagovailoa was shaking his head and hurt and staggering around because of back spasms. But again, we'll wait to see what the findings show.
Yeah. And all I want to say is that's the thing. Fans, a lot of times, they don't actually you have to look at this real time. These guys are hitting each other extremely hard. This is a dangerous sport. There's a reason why CTE is a real thing. These players have been playing football their entire lives, getting hit time and time again. This is serious. This isn't a game. This is real life. They're seriously putting their lives on the line. So to say it's soft, to say it's this, I seriously challenge you, go watch a football game in real time. Go stand on the sidelines. Watch how hard these guys are. The best athletes in the world, hitting each other at 20 miles an hour speed, helmet to helmet, head to head. Like, it's a dangerous sport. And yes, they have a right to protect their players.
I agree. Some more assessments that I made. I've seen enough of Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their receivers look dejected on the sideline. They look like they don't want to be there anymore. They're out there running routes to a guy that's not willing to chuck the ball down the field. I won't give him an opportunity to win these one-on-one matchups. Listen, I'm not a Steelers fan. I actually despise the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I got to be honest with you right there. They have some real talent at the wide receiver position. And for those guys not to be utilized, I think that's an issue. I want to keep it going, though. Derek Carr is holding back the Raiders. There, I said it. We had a whole segment about Derek Carr. I've had enough of Derek Carr. There have been 3 regimes, and the one common denominator is Derek Carr. At some point, I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a Raiders fan. I said, listen, at some point you have to look at Derek Carr and say, he's an issue. It's a problem. I watched that game yesterday. I saw a lot of missed throws. I don't know what the Raiders see in this guy, to be completely honest with you. And I'm not saying Derek Carr isn't a starting quarterback in the National Football League. That's not what I'm saying. I just think for this Raiders team, it's time for them to get an upgrade at quarterback. And whatever that looks like for them.
Yeah.
Derek Carr isn't the answer.
I think there's bigger issues on this team. Derek Carr had multiple chances to win this game. He didn't do that. I just look at, and you brought up the point, 3 regimes, different coaching staffs. He's looked good before. Last year, he looked good with that terrible receiving core. No Henry Ruggs. Darren Waller was hurt. Hunter Renfrow, and that's it. He's looked good in the past. So, you say the common denominator, Derek Carr. I think he's played good with what he's had. So why is it, with this star-studded group, now they're looking bad? I think it's Josh McDaniels. I think the truth is a lot of it is on Josh McDaniels, because I looked at yesterday's game. Yes, Derek Carr did miss throws. That's what you're going to get. He's not a top 10 quarterback. He's a top 15, top 20 quarterback. He's middle of the pack. The issue was they were doubling Devontae Adams on every single play, and that's the head coach's, that's the offense coordinator's job to disguise something to go and counter that. Every single play. Safety up top, corner right there, double Devontae Adams. That's on the offense coordinator. And yes, great quarterback play can overcome bad coaching. He's not a great quarterback. So if you want that, okay, go out there, draft somebody. That'll take a while. Derek Carr is good. He's a good quarterback. He's a playoff caliber quarterback. The issue is Josh McDaniels has struggled, and he has failed this offense, if we're putting it quite simply.
Derek Carr is a good quarterback. I don't know what a playoff quarterback caliber quarterback means. I genuinely don't know what that means. I don't know what you mean by that.
He's a quarterback that can take a team to the playoffs if the right system's around him.
Andy Dalton was a playoff caliber quarterback as well.
That's fair.
That's not enough. I'm saying, listen, Raiders fans, this is about me. I'm talking to y'all right now. Let's get into the world of reality for a second. If you want to take the next step as an organization, if you want to take the next step as a franchise, if you want to maximize the talent on this offense, you need a quarterback that can uplift the talent around him and overcome bad play calling, bad coaching. But I want to keep it going. Another observation that I've made is Tom Brady cannot win with this Buccaneers roster. Tom Brady cannot win with this Buccaneers roster as it's currently constructed. You got Julio Jones playing with a partially torn PCL. You've got him checking it down to the likes of Leonard Fournette, making him a pass catching back. I mean, Mike Evans is always going to be Mike Evans, but listen, availability is the best ability. He wasn't out there for his team. The Buccaneers struggled to move the ball all day yesterday, couldn't punch it in until that final drive, and nothing came of it, obviously, because the Packers won that game. Listen, I don't know. I that's just where I'm at. When I was watching this game, I said, okay, Tom Brady cannot win with this roster. That doesn't mean Tom Brady's washed. I'm not saying Tom Brady's washed, but I don't think he has the talent around him
Malik.
to help take the next
step. This is where, and I'm going to put my shades back on for this one. Malik, you are wrong. You are so wrong about this one, right? You say that he can't win with this roster. That's false. I'm not going to look at a 1-game sample size and say, I'm not saying you're looking at just one game, but a lot of people look at this one game and say, okay, yeah, they can't do it. I'm not falling for that.
Look what they did against the Saints.
Malik, hold on. They were 2-0 to head into this game, right? 2-0. They can win with this roster, and here's why. Without this game, no Mike Evans. Chris Godwin has been hurt. Julio Jones has been hurt. What? They still have a good offensive line, and the biggest thing is, yes, they can win with this roster because of that defense. Malik, we have to put respect on this defense. They're going to make the playoffs, and Tom Brady is going to have a shot in the playoffs, and that's all that matters. When I look at this defense, they give up 9 points a game, number 1 in the NFL, 4th least yards per game. You want to talk facts? That's the fact. You look at this defense, it's arguably the most talented defense. Defensive line, great. Linebacking core, the best in the NFL. Secondary has balled out, forcing turnovers. This defense can carry the team to the playoffs. The defense alone, giving up 9 points a game against Aaron Rodgers and Jameis Winston, that's good. 9 points a game is crazy. Malik, let me finish real quick. Let me finish. The defense is elite, and what's the definition of winning, right? Winning in the playoffs. If the defense is elite and takes them to the playoffs, I'm going to bet on Tom Brady, and if they have Mike Evans healthy, Chris Godwin's going to be back, Julio Jones will be there, they still have Russell Gage. Russell Gage was their number 1 receiver yesterday, and they almost beat the Packers. Add Mike Evans, add him healthy Chris Godwin, maybe Rashad White, plays his way into receiving role, so it's not Leonard Fournette as the receiving back. Tom Brady can win with this roster, especially in the depleted NFC. The Rams, they're flawed. As you've said, the Cardinals, I'm not trusting the Cardinals. The Eagles, okay, they're good, but have they proven it in the playoffs? No. Yes, he can win with this roster.
Here's the beautiful thing about right takes. I don't care what he just said. Tom Brady can't win with this roster. And again, when the playoffs is over, I'll be sitting up here saying, I told you so. He can't win with this roster. They're not championship caliber. This roster, the way the offense is currently constructed, they cannot win. He needs more weapons around him. That's my take.
You're wrong.
Listen, you don't have to agree with you don't have to agree with me to be wrong. No. That's why it's the right takes opposition.
The wrong take for that one.
Meg, I think we got to get to Monday Night Football.
Yeah, let's talk Monday Night Football. Cowboys at the Giants. Daniel, give us your thoughts.
So this is a game that, we already went over on the right bet. And I'll admit, Malik has been on about the Giants, right? He said Brian Daboll. And the fact of the matter is Brian Daboll has done wonders for this offense. And when you look at this game in a nutshell, right? The Cowboys, what do they have? They have an okay offense with Cooper Rush that's okay, right? He hasn't shown the ability to truly push the ball down the field. They're more of a methodical offense with Cooper Rush. The defense, if you can stop Micah Parsons, and that's the one thing. If you can stop Micah Parsons, you can win this game. So I look at the Giants. People can say Daniel Jones can throw this game away. I think Brian Daboll's done too good of a job to let Daniel Jones put him in that terrible position. They still have Saquon Barkley, and their defense has proved that it can be, decent. I think Kayvon Thibodeau might be back for this game. So this is a divisional matchup, prime time. I'm rolling with what Brian Daboll has done, and I'm fading Cooper Rush after his last performance. Take the Giants in this one. I like them to win at home.
Yep.
Yeah, I love the Giants in this game. I don't love the Giants necessarily overall or as a whole, but I definitely think that they're riding high, off of their recent victories and things of that nature. And I think Brian Daboll has a new energy around this Giants football organization. Again, I'll keep saying it. I haven't seen this much energy around this Giants football team since Tom Coughlin was the coach. So it's really, really cool to see. Honestly, it's good to see that the Giants fans sort of get a new breath of fresh air, if you will, a new coach in there. Again, Giants fans should be excited about today's game. Now, the one bright spot I will say is Cooper Rush is a lot better than what people give him credit for. And I also think Noah Brown.
Yep.
I was texting a buddy of mine. He was like, who should I start? Jerry Jeudy or Noah Brown? I said, you should start Noah Brown. I think him and Cooper Rush have a good connection. And I think we're going to continue to see them kind of build on that. I do think that will be one of the bright spots for the Cowboys offense tonight.
I want to see more Tony Pollard too. I want to see more Tony Pollard. And like Zeke has been okay. When you look at the numbers, like he's fine, averaging like 4 yards a carry. Let Tony Pollard get more run. I think he's the running back of the future. And if they want to beat the Giants, establish the run, get Tony Pollard going. And that's how, if they can methodically drive down the field time and time again, get Tony Pollard. He's way more explosive than Zeke. I'm sorry, we're putting it bluntly. Way more explosive. Give Tony Pollard more run.
For sure.
All right, everyone. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for tuning in to this packed show and spending your Monday morning with us. We will be back Wednesday with even more topics. And then Saturday, Malik and Daniel have the right bet at 10:30 every Saturday morning. So don't miss it. And we hope to see you there.
We'll see you there.